Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. And if you haven't been here before, please subscribe, be a part of the bilingual family trying to speak. So in today's video I wanted to do a full face of Essence cosmetics. I remember Essence as one of the first brands of makeup that I ever came into contact with, that I ever met in real life. The other brand was Catrice, and funnily enough those are sister brands. So I recently picked up a few of their other products that I didn't have already. And yeah, today we're going to do a full face of Essence cosmetics. I'm really excited because Essence is really affordable and I feel like they have a lot of good stuff in their range. Oh, before we start the video, before we apply everything to my face, there will be links in the description down below for you to use. Those are affiliate links, so don't feel pressured into using them, but if you do, thank you so much. So if you've been watching my channel for a little bit, you know that I am not the biggest fan of primers, but I do have a primer from Essence that I actually don't mind. So this is the Hello Good Stuff face primer with carrying hemp seed oil. It's one of those smoothing primers, so it feels quite silicone-y, but I do feel like it is a quite hydrating formula. It provides a really nice and wet base for my foundation to stick to, and it's not too sticky. I found that I just don't like sticky primers, so I'm just gonna take some on my fingers and we're gonna... So yeah, it's quite a smooth primer and it has a really specific scent. Not too mad about it though. So this is a product that I already had in my collection, and as I said before, I'm not a huge fan of primers, but I'm not mad at this one, so I do like it. Then Essence has two foundations in their range, one with an abysmal shade range and one with a slightly more acceptable shade range. So we have the Essence Fresh and Fit foundation, which is this one, and then we have the new Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation, which is this one. They are both hydrating foundations. That's the first thing. They're both hydrating foundations. I feel like the main difference between these two products is consistency and pigmentation. The Pretty Natural Foundation is slightly more thick. It's not as liquid as the Fresh and Fit one. And I also feel like it's less pigmented than the Fresh and Fit one. The Fresh and Fit foundation is more like a medium coverage foundation, whereas the Pretty Natural is a light coverage to buildable medium coverage. I feel like those are the biggest differences. I do have to say that I like both of these. We're gonna mix them. I have shade 10 Ivory in the Fresh and Fit one, and I have the shade 040 Neutral Vanilla in the Pretty Natural foundation. Now I do have to mention that these foundations are a little bit too dark for me. So one pump of the Fresh and Fit one squeeze, and then I'm gonna put some on just the general areas of my face. And then I'm gonna take my sponge and we're gonna blend this out. So that is the foundation as applied. As you can see, it's a little bit too dark for me. I'm not gonna lie about that. The shade is a little bit too dark. But even mixed, the finish of these foundations are actually very similar. Both of these foundations have a satin finish with a light to medium coverage. They never go completely full coverage. I have to say that. They don't. And you want to be careful, obviously, with the shades that you pick. This is just the shade that was the lightest in the drugstore that I could find. But I do like both of these foundations because they are very lightweight on the skin, very breathable as well, and they provide just the right amount of coverage that I want. So moving on to concealer, I have the Camouflage Plus Matte Concealer. I used to have the Camouflage Plus Healthy Glow Concealer, which is the hydrating version of this one. I don't have that one anymore because I emptied it and I went back to the drugstore to pick up that one. I thought this was the Healthy Glow Concealer, and then I got home and I looked at the bottle, and it was the matte concealer. Having said that, I've tried this and I think I actually like it more than the Healthy Glow one, which is so weird to me. Like, the formula is slightly less thick and creamy, and therefore it doesn't crease as quickly, but it's not a matte concealer in my eyes, I have to be honest. I don't feel like this is very matte on the face. I feel like it's a nice satin. I'm gonna apply this to my face, just a little bit here and a little bit here. This is the shade 20 Light Ivory. Blend this out. So as you can see, the formula like blends really easily. It's blended within a few of the sponge. Now next up is powder, and I did actually pick up a powder. Can you believe? Because I can't. So as many of you know, I only have the Hourglass powder in my collection right now, which is like the Veil Translucent setting powder with like the big thing. Unfortunately, Hourglass has not been it for me lately. I don't like the direction of the brand, but that's an entirely different matter. If you have been reading my blog for a really long time, you know that I absolutely used to love this powder, and I went through like 3 compacts of this. This is the Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder. This used to be my favorite powder, and I recently picked it up again for this video and I fell in love again. I think this is a really nice powder. It's not as finely milled as the Hourglass one, and it's not as non-drying on my skin as the Hourglass one. A 15th of the price. I just don't mind that this is slightly more dry. Basically, it's like a few bucks. It's really good for the price. It's almost as good as my Hourglass one, and I just remember that I really fell in love with this again. So I'm gonna take my Real Techniques setting brush and I'm just gonna dip in a little bit and then set the under eyes. So that is the powder. Like I said, absolutely fell in love with this again. I think it is such a brilliant powder. So the next step is usually bronzer, but I like to apply my brush, there we go again. I like to apply my blush before my bronzer. So I actually already had 2 blushes from Essence. I had the Matte Touch blushes, which are like these little guys, but I went onto the site to kind of find the prices of everything. It wasn't there. I feel like they probably discontinued the Matte Touch blushes, so I was like, I can't really recommend something that doesn't exist anymore. Then I went to the drugstore to pick up the other products that I had, and I came across the blush. So this is the blush, and I picked up the shade 10 Befitting. There are a few shades if I remember correctly. I don't exactly know how many shades there are. I picked up this shade because it looked a lot like Bury Me Up. So this is Befitting and this is Bury Me Up. I do feel like Bury Me Up is slightly more pink, whereas this is more of a muted mauve brownie color. I tested, like I compared the formulas because I wanted to kind of see if they were similar to each other. Formula is slightly different in the sense that these are not as pigmented as the original Matte Touch blushes. Like the Matte Touch blushes, you put your brush into it once and you already had too much product to work with, and these are more buildable. They're less pigmented and more buildable. It's just easier to control these blushes, and I actually think I prefer that because the other blushes were sometimes really difficult to control the amount of pigment that you wanted. And I'm gonna dip in a few times, swipe it in the direction that I want this to be, placing down the pigmentation. I put the brush like this and we blend it in. That is the blush on my face. I think it's a really beautiful color, and it is a very buildable formula, so I do like these more than the original Matte Touch blushes, and I do recommend them if you're looking for a nice matte blush. So next up is bronzer, one of my favorite things to apply to my face. So I actually have 2 bronzers from Essence. I have the old Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder. This is a typical thing what happens when you have Essence products for a long time. the lid comes off. This is an old one. It's been in their collection for such a long time, as long as I think I can remember, and it's a really nice bronzer. It's actually one of my favorites. For you, let me put my finger in it. So this is the color. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but it's quite an orangey color. So it's not the most pale friendly color to exist. It's a nice matte bronzer. It's very blendable. It has good pigmentation, and it just has a really nice finish on the skin. That's the biggest thing of this bronzer, is that it has a really nice finish on the skin. And then recently I picked up one of their new bronzers. So this is the Hello Good Stuff Matte and Glow Bronzer. It's Nourishing with Cocoa, and this just smells like absolute garbage. I've said this a few times, but I really don't like the smell of this bronzer. So I feel like the Hello Good Stuff line is a line that Essence brought out a while ago, and it is their version of a natural and clean beauty line within their own brand. The Hello Good Stuff primer is from there, as well as the bronzer, and I also have a Hello Good Stuff mist. Oh, by the way, I really like the little cocoa thing that they printed into this. So this bronzer is actually very similar to this bronzer. This one is a little bit more dry, a little bit more powdery. It has a lot of kick up, but besides that, the color is a little bit more cool toned, and you have two colors. So this is supposed to be like the shimmery side, and then this one is the matte side. So this is the Sun Club matte bronzing powder. This is the light shade, and this is the dark shade of the Hello Good Stuff bronzer. And when you mix them, so let me just mix them, you get this shade. So it's a little bit more cool toned and not as warm as the Sun Club matte bronzing powder. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take my brush that I use for bronzing. This is the Nabla Cheek Shaper brush. I'm gonna dip this brush into the Sun Club matte bronzing powder, and we're going to apply that first to my face. So that is the Sun Club matte bronzing powder applied all over my face. It has a really nice bronzy look to it right now. And then the next thing that I want to do is just take the Hello Good Stuff bronzing powder. Take the same brush really. So I just take a little bit of that, and I put it into the hollows of my cheek. Then the final thing that we have to do for the base is highlighter, and this is actually a new product to me. I haven't tried it that often. So where we had the blush, we now have the highlighter. So this is the highlighter in the shade 01 Mesmerizing, and it's kind of like just a really nice neutrally golden champagne color, something along those lines. I tried this a few times, and I have to say that it is a very powdery formula again, and it's also not the most smooth in terms of texture. But let me just apply this to my face instead of just, you know. I'm gonna be honest, this is not really my favorite product of the bunch. It reminds me of like the 2017 days where you put on a hell of a lot of highlighter and it's very texturizing. So yeah, unfortunately this isn't my favorite product. I don't really like it, but that's fine. My face does look a little powdery, I'm not gonna lie. But I am going to take the Hello Good Stuff 3-in-1 face mist, and it looks like this, and this is with a watermelon scent, and I'm just gonna spritz this on my face to hopefully rehydrate. This smells like watermelon sugar by Harry Styles. Okay, so what I want to do next is eyes. So I don't have a brow product because I'm not really into brow products these days, but I do have a few things for the eyes. So I have the individual eyeshadow in the shade 14 Flirting. When I was in the drugstore, I wasn't really interested in the eyeshadow palettes that they had at the moment, so I wanted to pick up an individual eyeshadow, and I picked up this one because it looked really nice and neutral. And then I also wanted a shimmer shadow, but I already have a shimmer shadow here in my collection from Essence that I love so much and that is the Essence Melted Chrome in shade 02 Ironic. This is opulence. Everything is opulence. Very neutral on the eyes, but shimmery and gorgeous and not chunky to the gods. I love this so much. It's such a good formula, very creamy, reminds me of these Super Shock shadows from Colourpop. I've tried this one as well. This is a matte formula. I tried it recently and I actually really like it. It's not a bad formula at all. So what I'm gonna do is just apply this onto my eyes, then put this on the lid, and after that I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a winged liner, and I'm gonna do that with the Essence Liquid Ink Liner. I know they've had this in their collection for like a really long time. I've been looking for like just a liquid liner that has one of these brushes, because I actually found out that I do my liquid liner a lot easier when it has like one of these brushes. So I'm quickly going to apply this into the crease, this on the lid, and this as an eyeliner. So I'm back. Ta-da! The eyeshadow is absolutely stunning. Everything blended out really nicely. So the only thing that we have left to do is lips. The first thing that I have is actually a new lip liner that I saw in the drugstore and I really wanted to pick it up. So this is the Essence Stay 8-Hour Lip Liner. It's supposed to be waterproof and it has a sharpener. The sharpener is here. Look at this little thing. So this is the shade 01 Curious, and it's basically like a beautiful, kind of a deep shade, not gonna lie. It's like a beautiful brownie pink. I'm quickly going to line my lips with this. So there we go, that's the lip liner. It's very creamy, very pigmented, so you want to be a little bit careful with that. We had the blush, the highlighter, and this is the lipstick. And I have the shade 03, which is called Bold. So it looks like this, one of the standard lip bullets, but look at that shade. So this is actually a satin finish. They also have the same like formula, but like a matte formula. But this is a satin finish, the cream finish, because I love cream finishes in lipstick. I'm not a huge fan of matte lipsticks anymore, so I prefer a cream one. So I'm just gonna apply this to my lips. So that is the lipstick, very creamy, very pigmented, really nice feel on the lips, and like I said, it's more of a satin finish, so it's not as matte on the lips as normal lipsticks, but I don't mind it, and it doesn't feel too clay-like on my lips as well, which I really appreciate. And then I'm just gonna put a gloss on top of this, and I'm gonna do that with the Essence Shine Wet Look lip glosses. These are so popular, especially like the clear one is so incredibly popular, but that one was sold out, obviously. Oh My Plump, which is like this pinky color. And then I have Volume Please, which is a really pale kind of color. And I think because I kind of want to slightly lighten this up a little bit, I'm gonna use Volume Please. So I'm just gonna... Ooh, that feels good. And I really like the formula. They're not sticky, they're not tacky, they feel like almost nothing on the lips. They do have that like minty scent and taste sometimes, but like they're so glossy and delicious, and I really like these lip glosses. These are actually like one of my favorite lip glosses in the drugstore, hands down. So good. So I quickly styled my hair a little bit. I gave it like a little bit of a brush through and got these little things right here. So that is actually everything for today's video. I really enjoy what I have on my face right now. I really like the eyeliner and the eyes. I like the lips, I like the base. The only thing that I don't particularly like is the highlighter, unfortunately. That's the only thing where I'm like, not my cup of tea, you know, it's showing too much of my texture that I have. It's not as smooth and soft and glossy as I would like it to be. But that's really the only thing where I'm like, I don't really like this product. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Please let me know what you think of this look and what you want to see next. Give this video a like or a comment, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!